Good morning, everyone. It's Annette here from Obsessed With, coming to you live with our outdoor broadcast from Bribie Island. And joining me today in her beautiful office is the incredible and enigmatic Tracey Mathers. Tracey, thank you for joining me.
Awesome to see you. And I'm actually jealous because do you know that Bribie Island is one of my most favourite places on the planet? I'd rather be there with you in the park.
Oh, well, next time. It is sublime. It is very simple. There's no bells and whistles, but I posted a photo yesterday and went, oh my God, that place looks so tropical and beautiful. And where is it? Is it Bali? And I went, no, Bribie.
I know, right on our own doorstep. It's fantastic.
Yeah, well, that's an interesting segue because you've grown up in a family that has been very driven, very successful. For those of you who may not know, Tracey comes from a very illustrious retail family, Mathers Shoes. Gosh, I remember going in there to get my Crosby's when I was like a kid.
Crosby, great mate. Woof.
Yeah, great mate.
Remember it well too.
Yeah, going back in there, it was like a big thing. So for you, how do you reconcile, that pedigree and the down-to-earth person that you are? Because I think a lot of people look at someone who comes from a very successful family and go, oh, she's probably up herself.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I've never really thought about it. I think that I just love people. I love life, and there is no such thing as, I think my husband has always said to me, and I love this saying, everybody comes into the world usually bald, naked and screaming, and we all live in a box. So what makes us any more special? I don't know. That's just up to us with our own. But, as I said, I just love people. So I've never really thought too much about, what I come from or anything like that, accepting that, it's given me a life that I've loved. My parents were both extremely down-to-earth, amazing people, and there was none of that in our house. So I think if we had thought about it for a second, it would have been knocked out of us pretty quickly.
Come here, I'll club you around the ear.
Let me change your thought pattern very quickly.
Yeah, you won't be sitting down after this conversation.
Exactly.
I don't know about you, but I used to get the wooden spoon as a kid, like we were around the same age. And, that was enough to strike the fear of God into me.
The wooden spoon wasn't for me. My mother used to always say, that's okay, don't worry. I'll just tell your father, or will I phone your father? And I'd be like, oh, don't. I'll be good. I'll do whatever you want me to do. Don't do that. It's all good. So I didn't even need to get the wooden spoon.
Well, see, I had no father, so the wooden spoon was my surrogate dad. He's like very, very quiet person.
But nasty sting.
Nasty sting, except for the time that I broke it on my backside, and that was the end of the wooden spoon. Yeah, so she was kind of like, I know, it was horrible. How did we get onto that topic? Like childhood. So what are some of the lessons that you've carried with you? Because, learning at the seat of someone who was incredibly successful, you would have learned a lot about how to have a happy, industrious and beautiful life.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the key for me that I learned is that communication's everything. Our ability to talk, our ability to, unpack, when we're happy, when we're sad, when we're, I think a lot of people close up, and I think that's a big problem that people have in life. I've always been an open book. If I've got a problem with you, you'll be the first person that knows about it. I don't need to go through other channels, or I don't need other people to fight my fights or anything like that. And I just think that's one of the greatest gifts that my parents taught me, is the ability to talk and to be very open book on how I'm feeling and what's going on in my world, because then everybody around me knows. I mean, even my girlfriends, they'll say to me, ooh, what's wrong with you at the moment? Because they can just tell straight away the change. And I'm happy to unpack, or to say I'm not ready to talk about it yet, I'll come back to you when I am. So I think that And the other really important one is just to be yourself, just to be happy with who you are, And I spent so many years, I've always been a bigger girl, and I spent so many years unhappy with who I was, and were people looking at me for the right reasons or the wrong reasons. I worried about everything, I overthought everything. And my beautiful mum tried so hard to say to me, you got to live in the now, you got to stop trying to preempt things, you got to stop worrying about stuff that may never happen, or thoughts that people might be having that they're not even having, they're not even slightly concerned about you, you're not even on their radar, and yet here you are overthinking it. So, it took me a lot of years and a lot of work on myself to get there. But, that place of just complete happiness, we were talking just before we jumped on here live, and I said to you that, one of my big words is confidence. And I'm so passionate about, or obsessed is the word I should be using, isn't it?
It's a nice word, obsessed.
I'm obsessed. Hashtag I'm obsessed with confidence, because confidence means a lot of things, different things to different people. When I say the word confidence with my clients that I work with, one of the first things they say is, oh, I hate that word, because to me that means up yourself, or you think you know it all, you got it all happening. And to me, that's nothing to what it means. Confidence for me is the ability to wake up every day and be happy with who I am, not have expectations or, great dreams of being, something much bigger than what I actually am. I just want to be able to accept who I am and find my amazing traits and be able to use them every day to help both myself and other people.
Isn't it crazy that a word that is so positive and can be so empowering has such a horrible rap?
Well, I think it scares people. I just think the word scares people. Confidence means that you've got your shit together, that you're happy with who you are, and, you're happy to have a beautiful tribe around you. But if those people don't get the journey that you're on, you're also happy for them to leave and not be part of your world. And that scares people, because it's all, change. We're all a bit bloody petrified of it, aren't we? And,
I know, it's kind of like, big scary monster. And what you were saying is, about being a bigger girl, as a bigger girl, and having been on a bit of a brain dump into my own head the last week, is that you start to realise that we manifest our feelings on the outside, and all of that pressure that you're putting on yourself, you're just kind of adding that burden. And I know that you were very focused on losing weight and getting, healthy and happy. Was there a moment where you looked at yourself and you went, okay, I'm here now. I've made it through the wilderness?
Absolutely. Yeah, most definitely. And I mean, look, when you talk about weight, and I am absolutely no guru on any of this, but when you talk about weight, it's amazing how it can change who you think that you are. My mum used to always say to me, and it's the cliche, isn't it? It's what's inside that counts. But we tend to sort of, stop ourselves from thinking, oh, well, they're not going to like who I am because they're not going to like the outside. And I just got to the point where I didn't like the outside. And that's when I thought, okay, well, now it's time to change. I don't believe we should do things for other people, as I'm sure you don't. We shouldn't change for other people. We shouldn't be what we have to be for other people. This is all about our own confidence. This is about being exactly who we want to be. And if you're not happy with something, then are you prepared to work hard enough to change it? Because if that's going to make you feel better in yourself and, shine brighter or whatever it is that you want, then isn't that worth the extra effort and the time and the hardship and everything that you're going to go through to get there? Sorry, I talk a lot with my hands, don't I? It can be distracting.
That's a bit of a truth bomb.
I should have been Italian.
Yeah, mamma mia.
I should have been Italian.
Yes.
Because I've got to get the point across.
Got a lot to say.
Yeah, I've got a lot to say. So, I think that, for me, the aha moment was, I wasn't happy with who I was and I was beating myself up on it. And so it was just time for a change. And, I'm just so much happier. I am so much happier. Does it change who you are? Well, actually, yeah, I believe it does. And, but I'm really, really happy with where I've come from and who I am now. And I'm really content and confident in my own self.
What a great word, content. I know that I've looked at pictures of you from, 5 years ago to now, and there's sparkle. Now, we've got a question from the audience.
Oh,
the beautiful
Naomi.
Yes, Naomi is the founder of the Cool to Be Kind project. She said, is there a life lesson you've learnt the hard way?
Yeah, absolutely, Naomi. I reckon the one that just immediately came to my mind is to stand up for yourself. So I had retail stores for 26 years. Believe it or not, most people would think that in the shoe industry that it would be very female dominated. It wasn't. It was very male dominated. And there was a lot of men, because of my last name, who wanted to see me fail, who didn't want to help me on the journey, and did everything in their power to actually stop me. And, I learnt that I just had to be true to myself. I had to find my voice. I had to stand up for myself. It didn't mean becoming a bitch, but I had to find an inner strength that stopped all of that from happening. I didn't want people standing up for me. I didn't want my father or, other male people in my life coming to my rescue. I realized very early on that if I was to have success and be successful in what I needed to do, I had to find my voice, be strong, and, not let others bring me down. And that's hard. But, when you work at it and you know who you are and what your values are, and that you're actually doing the right thing, it doesn't get hard. It gets easy.
And this is like through the 80s and 90s where we like to look back and think how enlightened we are, but it was still pretty hard slog as a woman in a male dominated industry in those decades.
Yeah, most definitely, especially, traveling overseas to countries like Italy and that, where men were very dominant. And, it was, I remember the very first time that I travelled with my father, and, he took me over to introduce me to some of his contacts and that sort of thing. And it was very interesting to watch the dynamics of how they really only discussed anything with him. Everything had to go through him. Every decision had to go through him. And, at one stage he actually, said, this is not my business. This is her business. And if I was you guys, I would be working pretty hard to win her over if you want to get some big orders from her. So, that was nice. But again, all those little lessons made me realize, don't sit there and wait for somebody else to speak up the obvious. Make sure that I open my voice and say, hang on a minute, this is my business. Why are you talking to him and not to me? So, they were all really great little life lessons that just grew my, self-esteem and confidence as I went along.
Oh, that's cool. I think that there's because I worked in a male-dominated industry, being the media industry, and, it got to the point where I was like, how much do you suck up and put up with before you're compromising your values and your own direction in life? And there comes a time where you just have to go, hey, mister, enough. Treat me like a human being.
Yep. And that's where, I use the word clarity a lot. Like, you got to be so clear on who you are and what you want and what it is that you do and what outcomes you want. Because when you have that real clear clarity in life, there's no stopping you. Because when somebody tries to push you off your path, all you have to do is refocus back on that really clear clarity of what it is you want, and you're back on track. It's the people that don't know where they're headed or what they want or who they are that can get really pushed around out there because, they're just not 100% sure themselves. So they're happy to sort of listen to all the outside noise.
So one of our viewers has said they're trying to teach their 14-year-old how to be confident in herself. And, I guess it's a hard time as a human being. There's so much craziness. I saw the other day, we don't refer to as coronavirus, we refer to as this shit that's going on. Us Aussies, we know how to make it real. It's like, I know that you predominantly work with women in business, but the things that you teach and the things that, you're gifted with to impart to others, they're really applicable across the whole of life, isn't it? Aren't they?
Absolutely. And can I actually just say something about that lovely 14-year-old child, where they're trying to help with confidence and that, one of the greatest things that I ever discovered is repetition. And what's missing from a lot of people is they actually don't understand their strengths. They have got no idea. They've never even thought about, we're all great on our weaknesses. If I asked you what's your weaknesses, you could rattle off 50,000 things for me. If I asked you what your strengths were, you probably would stop and have to hesitate and think for a minute deep. So, with your 14-year-old, ask them, sit down and have a really good conversation. And you might have to help with some of the words. So, it could be, things like, kindness, helpful, whatever the words are, write them all down and then go and find some great quotes or some great, what do you call them? I've lost the bloody word. Affirmation. Thank you. So go and find some affirmations that actually relate to those words and get them as part of a daily routine every morning to actually go through them. They don't have to believe them at first, but I promise you, the more that they keep doing it and the more that you keep building in and taking out ones once they become good in that area and putting in other new ones, it really, really does help. It helps to reiterate to yourself who you are, what you stand for, and what qualities that you've got within yourself. And that all helps with your confidence.
We had a champion in sport on last week, Julie McDonald.
Oh, I love Julie.
She's incredible. Hey, yeah, Julie, you're awesome. We love you. Is that she talked about, setting these goals and having affirmations, but also visualizing you being whatever it is that you want to be. And I have
a massive vision board right here on my wall, massive vision board that has everything that I want to achieve for 2020. Obviously, we're a few little months put behind, but that's okay. It's still there. It's still there, and lots of words and things like that I want to see every day so that they get instilled into my brain.
You've got to feed. It's that old story about feeding the two dogs.
Absolutely.
You've got one on your left going, "You're terrible, you're this, you're that," and the other one going, "Hey, you're amazing, you're awesome." And which one do you want to feed?
Yeah, totally. And Annette, I always remember my mum, because I'm a big reader. I love, as you see behind with all the books. I always remember my mum saying, so I used to read all, the bloody trashy novels like, Daniel Steele and all those that I loved. And my mum used to always say to me, "You know what, honey, I just wish that you would include some intelligent books into that because, the mind has to be, the more that you can put into your mind, the greater your mind will become. The more positive you can put into your mind, the greater that your mind will become." And she said, you're not doing yourself any favors by reading all that stuff all the time. Let's go and buy some things that, are really, thought-provoking for you, and let's start you on the journey of reading some good positive stuff, which I did. And, again, I don't think you're too young to start that, going back to that latest 14-year-old, start getting them to read some great books that will, educate them on life and who they want to be and what they can be. And, there's so many amazing people out there with so much great advice. And, you may only get of a thing out of a book, but that one little cracker might change your life, might change your world. So it's worth starting young and getting them into that, you know, positive mindset of, you know, thinking and you know, growing. So,
do you think with the volume of content that's out there for personal development, self-development, it can get a little bit overwhelming?
Absolutely.
Do you think that when we're looking for that thing within, that it has to be a big monumental thing, or it can be just something really personal to you?
Yeah, it can be something really personal to you. But you know, my golden rule that I have always lived by, and it's worked really well for me, doesn't necessarily mean it would work for everybody else. But what I do is I look at an area that I'm not happy with in my life. You know, obviously I unpack it as to why and what I can do about it and everything. And then I look out there and see who has that quality. You know, who's the person out there that has that quality, and I stalk the shit out of them.
I love it. And we can do it now.
I stalk them, and I look at how they think, and you know, if they've got a book, I'll read the book, and you know, it's really great because they then help me to move through that particular area of my life that I'm not feeling, you know, 100% great in.
What a great low cost way to invest
Absolutely.
in yourself. Because I mean, I wonder if people are turned off or shy about moving forward because some of this stuff costs a lot of money.
Sure does.
I've got another question for you. Liz Buchanan would like to know, what does success look like for you? And then we can move on to, or what is success? So how does that shape up for Tracey Mathers?
So what success looks like for me is getting out of bed every day and being happy. So yeah, look, we all love a bit of money. We all love to be able to. So, you know, let's get that elephant out of the room straight away. You know, success to me is being able to have. I love beautiful things. I love being able to buy beautiful things. So success does mean, you know, to be successful, to have some, you know, money behind me. But real success to me is waking up every day. And, you know, have you ever, I've never really had it, but I've got lots of friends that have jobs where they wake up and I know that they just want to pull the covers back over their head and just go, oh my God, I don't want to adult today. I don't want to have to do this. You know, for me, every day of my life, I mean, you know, I had hard times during my business where, you know, I had to make some tough decisions and it probably would have been easier to stay in bed. But I can honestly say to you that every day of my life I woke up, I was excited. I was excited about, you know, what was new, what was the new adventure, you know, what was I going to buy for the stores, what were the staff, what was I going to train the staff in and everything. I loved it. So to me, that success is doing what you love and being happy within yourself, you know, to do it. That's when, to me, I've reached success.
Nice. Hey, having grown up in a successful family, I mean, like it to me, it almost seems like you're predetermined to follow that path because I imagine dinner timetable conversations were about business and, you know, about the business of being in business. If you could have picked anything else to do, what would have been another course of career path for you?
Well, you know, to me, it was always going to be retail of some sort. So it might have been retail jewelry or it might have been retail clothing or something like that. But, you know, I think just having grown up in a retail family, I never thought of anything other than retail. The only thing I desperately wanted to be, and I used to do this from a kid, is I've always wanted to be like on TV, like a TV presenter or something like that. So I used to put the chairs out and I used to get up the front and I used to talk to my audience and used to have a topic and used to get right into it. So I loved that. I would have loved to have done that. And it's not too late. That's actually still on my vision board for at some stage, you know, maybe down the track, maybe getting a bit long in the tooth now for it. I might have missed the boat, but who knows? It might happen.
The beautiful thing is that the computer is your oyster. We can just create just about anything we want. And I'm thinking perhaps we could have you as a guest interviewer on Obsessed With, and you could bring someone on that you would like to interview. I reckon that's a cracker.
Sounds good to me.
That's
sounds good to me. But Absolutely. Thinking on your bribey feet. Hey, I just want to go back one step too. You know, I think that when people think of successful parents and all that sort of thing, they always think of, you know, maybe not tough upbringing, but, you know, very focused and all the rest of it. My parents were the most down-to-earth, cracker people you could ever meet in your life. Like, you know, my dad had no, I guess, ideas for us to follow in the business or anything like that. He never pushed, he never suggested. He just wanted happiness for us, and he wanted us to be exactly who we wanted to be. So there was never that sort of pressure or anything like that. And I'm so grateful for that, because, you know, he just let us choose our own path. I mean, my own path was, from as long as I can remember breathing, that's all I wanted to do, was follow in my dad's footsteps, because, you know, I loved and I admired, you know, what his dad and what he had created. But yeah, no, they were just really down to earth, beautiful people. And I'm so grateful for that as an upbringing. I think it's really helped me to have such a happy life, you know, going forward.
It's amazing, isn't it, when, you know, we talk about telling people stories, that so often we do focus on the tales of adversity and, you know, the underdog making it big, and, you know, something horrible happened and then something good, and we forget that there are just these beautiful stories of happiness and joy like yours that can make us.
Absolutely, most definitely. I've lost you for a minute, Annette.
Oh, there you are.
There you go.
Just froze in the most terrible facial expression.
Did I? What?
Just kind of like.
It keeps cutting in and out a little bit, but that's all right. We'll just keep going. And
yeah,
but yeah, no, I agree. Most definitely. It's not always bad, is it? You know, there's a lot of good, and I don't feel guilty for that. You know, I've had a lot of friends that have had terrible upbringing and all that sort of stuff. And what my upbringing has done has given me the ability to be able to help them through, and to help them accept what's happened to them, and not allow it to become who they are. So, you know, my parents have given me so much that has then allowed me to help other people to maybe not have had a great phase 1 of their life, but certainly to rock and have an amazing phase 2 and phase 3 of their life.
Well, one thing I remember someone saying to me once, you're not a tree, you can move. That doesn't matter where you are right now, that there's always a way forward. We've always got choices.
Absolutely. That's what we love about boating. My husband and I have got a boat and we love it. And we always say to everybody, it's fantastic. And they go, what do you love about it? And you go, you get out there, and if you don't like the neighbours, you just pull up the anchor and you move.
I love it
Much easier than a house.
Oh, my goodness. Yes, I'm going to come and live on your boat. It's amazing.
It's pretty good fun.
So what's next for Tracey Mathers? You know, we've all been stuck in the house for 3 months. What are you going to do when you've got freedom?
I'm going to have the biggest lunches. I can't wait for Sunday brunch again. My God, that's the one thing I really miss. I miss those amazing long lunches with all my mates. I'm going to get back out there and focus on, you know, business. I've had a little bit of although I've had, you know, clients and that through the time, I've certainly enjoyed myself and done some, you know, things that I've been wanting to do for ages. And so, you know, get back focused and, you know, get back into all the things that I've really started to plan and everything put in place and get going. I can't wait.
Oh, that's awesome. Tracey Mathers, thank you so much for your time this morning. It has been an awesome conversation. I know I've enjoyed it, and from the comments at the side, I know our viewers have enjoyed it. And, yeah, we'll have to get you on as obsessed with Tracey Mathers.
Thanks, Annette. Fantastic. Have a great day. And thanks, everybody, for tuning in and for your questions. And it was great. And congratulations, guys, on Obsessed. It's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah, well done. Keep up the great work. Okay,
we will.
Take care. Bye.